Yes, it's Foundation Friday. I'm so psyched. Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. That's right, it's Foundation Friday for over 50s. In a recent Ulta haul video, I asked you which you would rather see next. It was between the Anastasia Stick Foundation and the Urban Decay All-Nighter. And overwhelmingly, you guys picked the Urban Decay All-Nighter. So this is the one we're going to put in the hot seat today. I will be doing the Anastasia Stick Foundation in the next Foundation Friday, so don't you worry. If you had voted for that one, you will get a chance to see it. So we're going to put this to an in-depth test today to see if this can work on more mature skin. The Urban Decay All-Nighter is a full coverage matte foundation. This retails for $40 for 1 ounce and it comes in 24 different shades. But when I say shades, these are more like colors. So if you have a lot of yellow in your skin, you will find a match in here. If you have a lot of pink in your skin, you'll find a match in here. The shades go from fairly light to fairly dark with a lot of overwhelmingly yellow and orange based mid-tones in between. I couldn't find one to match my skin tone. What I ended up doing was mixing 3 together to get something that was a good match for me. The colors change so much from when they're wet to when they're dry. They seem to dry much darker than when they're wet. So as you can see, this one still has a little dampness in the middle. So according to Urban Decay, this gives full coverage with a modern matte finish. It has serious long-lasting wear and a blown-out effect. It diffuses light and blurs flaws for perfected skin. It's comfortable enough to wear every day. It's oil-free, paraben-free, and waterproof. I checked out the ingredients on this one, and it's mainly a silicone and water-based foundation. Every other ingredient on the label is a different type of silicone. This one is also alcohol-free, drying alcohol-free, I should say, and it's also fragrance-free. This one has 3 times the pigments as their Naked Skin foundations. The container is a lovely plastic pump bottle. Let's go into looking at the footage of all the different days that I wore it and all the different ways that I tried it. The first day I'm going to show you is the one where I tried it at baseline, which means that I apply it just over, not bare skin because I always wear sunscreen. It's ISDIN and it's a chemical sunscreen. I don't use a primer and I don't use any tools, so I just put it on with my fingers. A little goes a long, long way, and this is so highly pigmented that it really gives full coverage right out of the chute. When they say full coverage and insane coverage, boy do they mean it. But what's interesting is how the color changes from when it's wet to when it dries. It looks light and like an actual color that would match my skin tone when I'm first putting it on, but as it dries, these get much, much darker. So then by the time it dried, I was looking pretty much like an Oompa Loompa in this shade, which was 4.5. With the fingers, it goes on actually pretty well. It's a very heavy coverage that you get with the fingers. The finish is more of a satin matte than a flat matte. I actually really, really like the finish on this one. No one will see your melasma, your rosacea, your pimple, your age spot. All that is completely covered and covered well with one coat. It did settle right into my pores and right into my wrinkles. It feels a little bit heavier than I'm used to, but I did apply quite a lot, and with my fingers it is a heavier coverage, and it definitely looks like makeup. Alright, so I proceeded to wear it for the rest of the day. I came back for a 5-hour check-in. So far, I think it's looking really good. So it's not really wearing off, it's not really sliding around, it's staying in place very nicely. The things that it was doing before, it's still doing, so I still have like polka dot pores and I still have it settled in a wrinkle here. It has settled in another wrinkle over here and another one up here. It still looked good from a conversational distance at 10 hours, and overall the coverage definitely held up the entire 10 hours without a primer, with only slight fading on my nose and chin. It didn't get shiny in my T-zone, it just got slightly dewy so that it looked like a nice soft satin finish. Up close, it didn't look as good as it did from a conversational distance, but whatever it does. It was breaking up a little bit and looking a little bit dry in some spots, like around my chin and mouth, and it did feel a little drying after about the 8-hour mark. Alright, so that was it for that day. Another day I wore it, I used Hydropeptide Solar Defense Sunscreen. I didn't use a primer again to see how it played with my sunscreen, and there were no problems between the two of them. I applied half face with sponge and half face with my Artis Oval 7 brush. The damp sponge shears the foundation out, so it's less full coverage, but it still covers spots and tonal issues pretty well. There was no settling into pores or wrinkles with the sponge. Using a brush was the recommended method from Decay, and it really was a much better application with the brush. This brush just made it go on perfectly, seamlessly, flawlessly. It did give more full coverage, so I did get full coverage out of it with just the little bit that I used. It didn't settle into pores, it didn't settle into wrinkles, and I definitely prefer the brush side. This foundation also claims to be waterproof, which can be a godsend for those of us that are truly in our hot and flashy years, having hot flashes like 5 times a day as I am currently. So I got the chance to wear this through a couple of hot flashes. I gotta say it did perform very well through a hot flash. Alright you guys, this is the 8-hour check-in instead of 10. I'm about to head out for dinner with my hubs, and I actually think that I'm going to have to fix up my makeup before I go. I'm really not happy with the way it looks. It is increasingly shiny, very shiny. It's sliding around, it's getting thin and patchy in some places, so overall I just don't think it's looking very good. But can we talk about this lipstick? Holy cow, I've been wearing this all day. This combo this morning was, oh, of course the lawnmower men are here now, the Rimmel Exaggerate lip liner, which I love, in the color Pure, and then I have to talk over them, the Too Faced La Creme lipstick in Bonbon. Alright, so I'm going to take this off and head out to anniversary dinner, 21 years, can you believe it? And I will see you guys later. So then on the last day of testing, I decided to use a mattifying primer. I used Becca mattifying primer, and I put it on with a sponge again because I wanted to see if it would give me better application with a primer and the sponge. I was very happy with it. I really liked how it went on. I felt like it gave me full coverage, full matte coverage, and it looked really good. It looked like makeup, but it looked like good makeup. The color, again, wonky. I think I used the 4.5 again. When I came back for the 5-hour check-in, I was really happy with it. I think the Becca primer really did the trick with not having the shininess on my forehead. Although I see that under these lights it is looking like a little bit reflective there, but in real life it looks fairly matte. Here's the close-ups. I don't feel like it's drying. I feel like the coverage is really good. It hasn't worn off at all. The only place it's worn off is on my eyeglasses pads where I was wearing sunglasses. I just did a 2.5-hour round trip to the airport and back to pick up my daughter, and sat in traffic because it's Friday at 5. At the 10-hour check-in, I feel like it still looked really good. It was still definitely more in place than it was on the other days where I didn't use a primer, so I feel like a primer kind of does help this one. I don't feel like it's doing anything to smooth my skin, my pores, my ripples or anything, but it's not like shining off of it either and making it look worse. So, you know, I definitely did manage to get 10 hours of wear out of it on one day, but as far as it being like an all-nighter that's going to last you 12, 14, 16 hours if you have a super long work day, maybe not. So now today I did have to, as I said, mix 3 colors together to get a decent shade. Today I used the Laura Mercier foundation primer, and I used my Artis Oval 7 brush to apply it again, and I was very happy with the application today. So I think that's my favorite. And I do have a couple more tests to do for you. I have to go outside and film it in the sun. Oh, it's bright sun today. How's it look? I can't see. I'm blinded. Then, of course, we have to do the phone test. Sparkly clean phone glass. Definitely not the worst I've seen. And we have to do the flash photography test. And the final verdict. Well, for a foundation that I was sure I was going to hate, I actually like this quite a lot. I think it gives beautiful full coverage right out of the chute, and it does last quite a while. I didn't get it up to a full 10 hours unless I added a primer, but it is long lasting. It did last me through a couple of hot flashes. The thing that keeps it out of Holy Grail status for me is that it's not the most natural looking makeup. It definitely looks like makeup. So if you don't mind that, you could really love this. I really like the finish on it. I think it's very kind of a youthful satiny matte looking thing that doesn't accentuate like the ripples on my skin. You know how I am about those and all the light that's always shining off them on the luminous foundations. I think from a conversational distance, yes, this is a really, really good looking foundation. The only thing is that I wish I could find it in my color because, you know, it's really not my thing to be like buying two and mixing it together every time I wear it. So that is going to be like the gating issue that actually keeps me from buying this foundation. But if you can find a color match in it, then you could really love it. So that is the Foundation Friday for today, everybody. I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and you can always subscribe if you want to see more Foundation Fridays and lots of other anti-aging, hot and flashy antics here on Hot and Flashy. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next video. So take care, everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.